Welcome to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pfefferkorn, and this is the biggest and only fan-run podcast of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. We'll get right back to you after the tune. Welcome back. Before we get started with tonight's episode, I just wanted to have a quick moment of silence for Coach Carl Torbush, who sadly passed away earlier this week at the age of 72. Coach Carl Torbush helped revitalize ETSU football when we came back in 2015. He had a long coaching career and impacted many different people along his many stops in his coaching career. He personally impacted the lives of each player he coached, and every person he worked with. There's not been a single negative word said about him, and I'm grateful that he was our head coach for the 3 years he was with the 4 years he was with the program. So I'm going to have a quick moment of silence before we officially start the episode, and we'll get back to you after this moment of silence. Okay, welcome back once again. After that quick moment of silence for Coach Torbush, I just wanted to welcome our guests on tonight. You might know them better as the voices of Southern Comfort, but I'm just going to introduce them here. Will Fleming and Cole Spivvy.
What's
Cole,
up,
first. Cole,
Hey.
you go first. Introduce yourself.
man?
Introduce you guys.
Some people call me the biggest Western Carolina fan in existence. I didn't come up with that title myself, I promise. Catamount grad, big SoCon fan. Looking forward to this. Very grateful to be on the pod.
Yep. Will Fleming here. Also grateful to be here. Always good to talk about the Bucs, no matter where we stand. I walked on the football team, played football for a few years, graduated nursing school. I'm actually back getting my nurse practitioner degree right now at ETSU. I could have gone to Western, but I didn't for damn good reasons.
I know, yeah, because Western's in the middle of nowhere.
Really. Yeah, I mean, who would want to go there?
I know we're going to have some irritations for Cole all night, but it'll all be good. But I'm glad to have you all on tonight because this is my first episode with 3 people, so it's a big collab. It's been in the works since we're probably the 2 biggest SoCon related podcasts. Well, there's also Sanford, the one I'm associated with, the State of the Bulldogs. But I just wanted to quickly talk about how did you guys get linked up? How did Southern Comfort come to be? And just sort of what was the inspiration behind it? Because that's a big thing for me, sort of the inspiration for my show. So,
Cole, go ahead.
I think me and Will really just don't like each other, and that was kind of the whole inspiration, was our pure hate. There was a lot of back and forth between Western Carolina and ETSU in the 2019-20 season. Maybe not back and forth. It was really just Western getting beat up. But kind of started the podcast as Mark Zanetto is kind of infamous. He's like, you won't do a podcast. And I was like, all right, I'll do a podcast. And had some guests on every so often, and then kind of fell with Will about the middle of the first season and never looked back as a co-host to this thing. And, Will's voice on the podcast is kind of synonymous, I think, and it's very well done. That's kind of where we got to, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think opposites attract, and I hated Cole with so much in me for so long. And like you said, Mark Zanetto, Mark, if you ever listen to this, unblock me. I'm sorry for what I did, whenever I did it, whatever I said. But no, man, it's cool. And we both agree that, the Southern Conference and FCS athletics and lower Division One, I guess, group of, I guess, what are we, mid-majors? Mid-majors,
Yeah,
they need
yeah,
they need a bigger voice, and we tried to extend that to a lot of players, and we've been fortunate to get a lot of really, really good and talented players onto our podcast.
yeah. I just thinking about it. That was sort of my inspiration too. Like, there's not a voice for ETSU a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time. Just like an ETSU centric podcast. Um, but yeah, Cole, that's where I first met you, was on SoCon Twitter. We've talked about a couple of the crazies already. Just there's a lot of crazies out there on SoCon Twitter, and I'm glad to be one of them. But just like the back and forth, and we've kind of grown to have a respect for each other. But
Yeah.
Mark Zanato, he still has me blocked, so he's probably not listening. I will say, I don't know what I did. I think I replied like, I think I insulted UConn or something, and he blocked me or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what team he's like obsessed with now.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
UConn's
like,
I
like
think
3 teams ago at this point.
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if it's Cincinnati again or what it may be, but
yeah.
I mean,
Wherever
this dude's a
Wes Miller is,
psychopath.
he's probably on the bench at Cincinnati somehow,
Oh man,
sneaking in the arena
crazy.
somehow. I remember when there was like people chanting his name
Oh
in
my
the
God,
ETSU student
ETSU
section.
2020. I'll never forget it.
Yes, I was at
We're
that
sitting there
game.
chanting Mark's name. Mark, man, we were up, man, we were on him that game. I will never forget that. My cousin came with me, and he was like, "Man, this is insane." Man, those were
Yeah,
games. Those were so
it,
fun, man.
all those games were like battles too. Like,
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
like insanity every
And there was
game.
one game. It was February 29th, 2020, and we played against. It was a weekday, and we played against Western Carolina. And I don't know if you remember. I'll go over this with Cole. Patrick Good became Western Carolina's father and president of the university that day. Cole, were you there?
Uh,
I think
I
you were,
you,
weren't
you
you?
know I got a lot of thoughts about some of those games. Um, Most of them I keep to myself at this day and age. I
yeah.
realize it's better not to
You're
talk.
the bigger person.
Well, you can only watch the same thing happen over and over again so many times. But we're in a role reversal at this point.
Mm-hmm.
ETSU
Yeah,
is more like ETS, who I would say. Basketball might be looking up. I think highly of your
yeah,
coach, but your football team is at an
Bad.
abysmal level.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really,
I,
really
Not
I would
bad.
agree
Wofford,
with
but
that.
not good.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that's just on coaching in
Mm-hmm.
general. There's a lot
Yep.
there's a lot of talent on ETSU's roster, but it's not
Yep.
being utilized at all.
Yep.
We'll sort of get into that here in a minute, but uh, just like you mentioned, there's a lot of infamous games between ETSU and Western Carolina over the last several years,
Yeah.
both football and basketball. There was the one. This is another game I went to. ETSU and Western were playing 2018 in football,
Yeah.
and
2018.
ETSU was down by like 20 something, I think,
Yeah.
and it was like horrible conditions outside. Um, and it got to like the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I was a dumb kid then. I didn't dress for the conditions. I was like, oh, ETSU's gonna lose, so I left because my hands were
Dang.
starting to turn purple. And I went back home and took a nap, and my dad woke me back up, and he was like, ETSU came back. I was like, what? And it went to like 3 overtimes.
Triple overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, they've had some iconic games.
yeah,
I think about the one in Bristol a lot.
yeah.
You played for the Tire
That one
Trophy,
too.
the third
It's
game of ETSU being back in history and still beat the Catamounts.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to mention right now, especially with Torbush, just leaving us. But that was one of my favorite memories, especially. And that was even before I was on the team. But like I remember I was brand new. I was a student. It was like 2016, I think,
Mhm.
Yep.
and going to Bristol, and that was like a huge. It was right after the Battle of Bristol, and we got. I think it was still the biggest crowd in school history because I think we had like 20,000 people there, or something like that, something crazy, and that was super super cool, and it kind of gave us hope as like ETSU fans / players, I guess, that we can actually do this. We're a bunch of guys that weren't great, but we can actually win a few games.
That was actually our second year back, but
Mm-hmm.
that whole season was sort of the building block season.
Yeah.
To where ETSU football would go in 2018 and
Yeah.
2021, just the victories against Kennesaw, Western at Bristol, and then beating Sanford later in the year.
Yeah.
That's just sort of the building block. Just talking about Carl Torbush. Thing about Torbush, she may have not had the best team at the time, but he had the heart
Yeah.
element, and that's sort of what I was speaking to. Every player that played for him loved him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Loved
I
him
think
as
the
a
cool
man.
thing with Torbush, he gave everybody hope and a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about Asley Hayes. Asley is from Mountain City. No one, or he went to Cloudland. No one
Mm-hmm.
comes and plays Division I football from there. And he goes and plays. And Torbush brought everybody together, and that was the coolest thing. I think we've all I've texted a few of the guys that I played with, and especially Eddie Gajardo, and he was like, man, he's the reason why all of us were all together. That's super super cool. And he knew what he was going to step into, and I think that's really neat. He knew he was not going to be in a good position. He had no field, no stadium, no uniforms, no staff, nothing, no players, and he gave everybody a chance, and that was super super cool.
Yeah, it's just what he came into. ETSU didn't even have uniforms when he first
No,
started.
we still have that ugly
Uniforms are
logo.
football. Yeah, that the Darth
Yeah,
Bucky on the white helmet.
it's awful.
When football first announced, that was the helmet they put out,
Yeah,
just like a
they put
generic.
it. Yeah, when they did the stadium designs, they put that
Hmm.
logo in the middle of the stadium. Crazy.
Because I was in middle school at the time when all that stuff was getting announced, but
Yeah,
um, it's just crazy how far it's come. Having William B. Green
absolutely.
Junior Stadium build up, and um, I just kind of wanted uh, sort of, I don't know how to transition this, but I was going to sort of transition into how the football team is doing now and what we'd like to see in the future. Uh, get back to those high points that we've been talking about. It's kind of bleak right now
Yeah,
after losing to VMI. Uh,
Fire your
there's
yeah,
freaking coach,
not
man.
much we can say. Not much we can say about.
Fire your freaking coach. Bite the
Yeah,
bullet. Buy him out. Western Carolina was in a very similar space with Mark Spears, the head coach, before we got Kerwin Bell. Loved Spear to death, and he had a lot of fans that bought in. I believed in him, but at some point you've got to see it on paper.
yeah,
yeah.
Kind of very similar buyout. We had to pay the guy $1 million to go away, but sometimes it's worth biting into that to get your guy and to get who is going to succeed. But
Yeah.
you take a big risk on that because you've got to get the next one right.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think he's got to go, and that's just coming from an angry fan. But it's also
yeah,
so all right, we got to throw away last year. So and so got hurt. Let's throw it away. First season, whatever. And then this season, it's well, half our team's hurt. Well, we got to throw this away too. It's all right, when are we going to hold ourselves accountable and realize that this is? I mean, we're 2-7. This is terrible. We're coming off 2 years ago. We were one of the top programs in the country. And unfortunately we had to go to North Dakota State and they had to ruin that for us. But that's just it's kind of crazy that we've had that fall from grace so quickly. And I hate Randy Sanders had to retire, but
hmm
I think they got the hire especially wrong. And you're right, Cole. I think you have to get this next one spot on.
yeah. I just think George Quarles is in over his head.
Yeah,
Just that's from what I've heard. I mean,
yeah,
I've heard he's a decent human being. There's
mm-hmm.
not stuff out, other stuff going on, but
It can't all
Yeah.
be Bucky McMillan,
yeah,
make that
yeah.
company succeed.
See,
Uh,
I think a huge issue too is and I've said this. Coach Sanders he would bite your head off. He would yell at the ref. You see him all the time, and he came off like an asshole. But I think assholes win football games, and it seems like Torbush. Uh, it seems like Quarles kind of just sits back there
yeah,
disconnected and does it. You never hear him yelling at somebody. I mean, it's just what is this guy doing? And I feel like the team, and I don't have any direct quotes from people that probably am, but it seems like the team is just completely disconnected from him, and that's just not where you want to be at all,
I,
especially 9 games in the season.
that I know this sort of is a parallel, but that kind of sounds like Daryl Hazel at Purdue. I'm a Purdue fan
Yeah,
too. He was just disconnected from the players, like he just was there.
yeah,
You know, people would say, "Oh, he's a great dude," but he couldn't coach. Like he just was disconnected from the football field, like on a
yeah.
different plane. Um, and it's just the way it is right now, especially even like it just seems like with the injuries and suspensions, we just had Zach Borish get suspended by the NCAA for probably academics or something like that. I don't know what the
It's
exact.
absurd.
Yeah, just like the amount of bad luck ETSU football's had this year. It's like
Yeah, we
on
had a
top
lot of
of
good luck, and I think we may have used it all.
2021 that
Yeah,
Mercer and Kennesaw games.
yeah,
Those were insane. Insanely lucky that we got an onside kick and then we got against Mercer and then we had the
yeah,
one against Kennesaw. But
yeah.
um, I just wanted to take a moment, ask you about Western Carolina because I was going to sort of talk about SoCon football in general too, and FCS football in general. I know your
Yeah,
season's kind of after the hot start, it's kind of gone flat
the thing
a
with the
little bit.
Catamounts, man, is it all starts and ends with Desmond Reed, a guy
Mm-hmm.
that's if you're getting 550 yards of offense
Mm-hmm.
a game and he's accounting for 250 yards of it, and you take 250 yards of that away, you're gonna struggle. He opens up other things. I think the Falcons coach said the other day about Bijan Robinson that like he opens up more away from the
Mm-hmm.
ball. Like that definitely is Desmond Reed. That guy I think opens up channels just by being on the field. You saw the start of the Furman game when we played them a couple weeks back. Desmond Reed was clearly still hurt on the field. We go pass, 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 and I think they're covering for the run. And then once they realize, oh, Desmond Reed's not getting the ball, um, things kind of start to shut down around you. And Cole Gonzalez doesn't have all those windows that he had when he's passing for 400 yards a game because you don't have Desmond Reed. But, defense is the other end of that. I texted Will, I think, this week, and I was like, dude, just let us have your defensive coordinator because ETSU still holds teams. They didn't give up much, 16 points against Furman, one of
Yep.
the best teams in the country. And, the pieces are there. I think, and that's kind of why this game, even in Colowee, the Catamounts, one of the best seasons ever, really is still, I think, really interesting to watch because if you don't have Desmond Reed there for the Catamounts, and you trot out a quarterback that can half throw the ball for the Buccaneers, it could still be an interesting game. And they
Yeah.
always play close. When was the last time that this was a blowout?
I,
True. I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Cole. I just worry because I don't think we can throw the ball at all. And
mhm.
I think you guys are so athletic and it's going to destroy us.
See,
I'm
like
terrified of playing you guys.
I think my whole opinion on this, I was going to say our defense has been our lone bright spot this year.
Yeah.
Maybe that and a little bit of our running game, but that's been hit or miss.
Yeah, I'm
But
with you, Jacob. I think, and this goes back to the hiring thing. It's like, well, you're the most loyal ETSU coach in the entire planet, the guy who loves ETSU more than anything, Billy Taylor, and every single player in the team respects him, everything like that. And then you kind of just diss him and don't hire him, and he still stays around, and he still has the best unit on the field, really every time. And very rarely, do you look at the defense and wish they could do better. And I just truly am terrified with the speed and the athleticism
mhm,
of Western Carolina. Because historically, um, that is challenging for us. Like the speed of which they play. Like Samford is such a mismatch for us for defensively that we've only beaten once or twice, I think, since football got brought back. I mean, it is very very difficult for us to beat them because of how they play. And I think Western Carolina is going to catch on to that real quick.
yeah, Sanford and Western have had similar offenses for
Mm-hmm.
the last little bit. Every game's a shootout with them. That
Yeah.
the 2021 year, I think both those games were like
They
in the
went to 4
40s.
overtimes
It was
recently.
35-35 in halftime, wasn't it, in
Yeah,
2021?
yeah. I just know those shootouts. But that our team doesn't have the offense this year to keep up. I think it'll be a game till half, and then the defense will get worn out from being on the field for basically 30 minutes in the
Yep.
first half, 30 minutes of game time, and it'll turn into like a 45-21 game or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you this. You scored single digits 3 of your last 5,
Yeah,
but also Wofford scored their most points of the
Yep.
season last week against the Catamounts. They were held to 10 or less 4 times this year. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to score, now's the weekend to do it, kind of. I mean, Western is significantly overall points allowed. They're the only team in the 300s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Will, just have your guys DC just Zoom call in for the Catamounts 3 times a week, dude. We'll win a fucking national championship that way.
all I've got to say is if ETSU had if what's his name, Chase Artipis from Chattanooga that came to ETSU, it might be a different season right
Yeah.
now. To be honest,
Yeah.
you may be having a different conversation. Just because our QB play has been so off the mark with Riddell getting hurt, and then
Yeah.
Baron May getting hurt, and then
Baron May, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
Timmy, and then
yeah,
you can't catch a break.
having a freshman walk on start, you know, that
Yeah.
is inexperienced. He did good against Wofford because Wofford,
Wofford's terrible.
their fall from grace is probably worse than ours, honestly.
It's
Like,
unreal, and I mean, thank God they kind of have basketball going for them, because I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, that's really about it. Golly.
Yeah, theirs is
that
almost more self-inflicted.
Yeah.
them and the Citadel have been just missing MIA since like the last 3 years,
Yeah.
ever since COVID. I think it may be just I don't know. I don't know what the issue is with their programs. Maybe they're just having a harder time getting applicants or getting people on scholarship, or I don't know what
They've
the
made
deal
some
is.
rule changes about
Yeah,
the kind of the triple option block,
yeah.
and I know Wofford's
That
trying to
hurts.
get away from it.
Yeah, that
Oh
hurts
yeah.
a military school like that.
I know that's kind of been. I remember that now. They had the changed or option in like Navy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
They
all
used
of
to
them
run
are
it
Which
down
small.
your
is
throat, so they
Yeah,
can't do it anymore.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they still beat us last year, so let's keep that in mind, Cole.
yeah.
They beat us last year too.
Oh shit! Hey, you're right.
In Colorado.
Yeah. I just sort of that. Do you have any score predictions for the game this weekend?
Cole, you go first.
35-28.
Oh my god.
Catamounts score like 2 in the fourth quarter to put it away. Wofford
Was
scored 25 last week.
Desmond Reed hurt against the Citadel?
He hasn't played since the Furman game. He played the first 4 snaps of the Furman game, sat out Mercer, sat out
Okay.
Wofford. Could be back next week, but I don't know why you rush him back.
So I'm thinking the score is going to be Western Carolina 38, the East Tennessee State Buccaneers 13, maybe 13. I think we're going to break one loose, or we may break one loose. We get 2 field goals, but there's not going to be much. I don't see any sunshine in Goldie on Saturday. And I see you
Catamounts.
with blue and gold glasses, and you know that, Cole. I see blue and gold, and there's not going to be much sunshine on Saturday.
That
Yeah.
would be good for the defense, is all I can say.
Damn, I'm negative tonight. I'm real negative tonight. You may ask me a Saturday. I may be saying we're going to win this thing.
My prediction, I'd say 45-21.
Wow. Yeah.
I'd say I think it's going to be like the same for game a lot. We stick around for a little while, get a couple big plays, but at the end, the QB play just kind of isn't there.
I don't know who he's going to pass to.
Yeah.
Tommy Whitten and Gallardettes, I guess. But, I mean, Oh no, it's tough.
Yeah, with Will
I
Hussey
wish him
being
well,
out.
and I hope we win. Let's get
Yeah,
that straight. I hope we win, but do I think we're going to? I do not. And I hope at the end of the year we say, thank you so much for your time here in John City, Coach. We will be extending an offer to someone else.
there's rumors that he might be stepping down. I don't know how accurate that is.
I mean, that's
I've
a good
heard
idea.
I've heard rumors that he might just say screw it and go coach Knox Catholic or
Man, he needs to go
Lipscomb
back to Maryville. They're
Academy.
Yeah,
You
Lipscomb just
always
got a
twist
playoff ban,
arm,
so they're going
kind
to
of
be
make him
Yeah.
come
in
into
trouble.
the office role of the athletics. I think that's kind of what the Catamounts did with Mark Spear. You know, they couldn't buy him out, but they were like, listen,
Yeah.
you're not the football coach anymore. You're going to transition to something, you know, in the office and collect your paychecks. Really depends on how much of a favor he would want to do for
Yeah.
the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I know.
Show me
Just
the
let him go
money.
back to Maryville. Just let him go back to
Yeah.
Maryville, man. He was really good at Maryville. So.
Yeah, just let him go back to high school ranks.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? There was something I was gonna say, but I forgot it. But yeah. I hope it with ETSU football. It's just we're waiting for the end of the season pretty much right now. So.
Yep.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about the game, or do you want to sort of or FCS playoffs or the SoCon in the FCS playoffs?
I mean, obviously Furman's going to be a top 3
Yeah.
seed unless something crazy happens. I don't think Furman's a national championship team by any means, though. Cole,
Yeah.
do you think that?
South Dakota State's winning the national championship.
I mean, they're unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Dakota State's going to win regardless.
The
But
thing
I
that
don't know
gets
how
hard
far Furman's going to go.
about the playoffs with the SoCon, you know, North Dakota State is 3-3 in their conference, and you know it's going to be they're going to have an edge, and they're like
Well, they're going to get in. Yeah.
They're 6 in the Missouri Valley, and they're going to have an edge, and we've got 4 teams that are all really good. Catamounts kind of shot ourselves in the foot by losing to Mercer, so Furman, Chattanooga, Mercer, and Western Carolina are all not getting in the playoffs. We're not going to have 4 teams in.
No.
We'd be lucky to get 3 teams in. I think the Catamounts out of conference schedule, you beat EKU on the road, kind of stands tall for you.
Mm-hmm.
Really depends on what the committee looks at for Desmond Reed being out. You know, do you factor in the fact that we didn't have our best player when we lost to Mercer, and you know, played a close one with Furman until the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of what the SoCon always does, where we beat each other up.
Yep. I think there's going to be Furman and Chat. I think they're both going to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
Chattanooga doesn't have another conference game to play. They're Alabama and done.
Yeah. So I mean,
and here's the thing: they're stuck at 7 wins. If Western wins out and Mercer wins out, we get to 8. You're going to tell me
you guys have you get the head-to-head against Chat too, yeah.
Yeah, but then Chat has the head-to-head against Mercer, but then Mercer has the head-to-head against us.
Yeah. That's tough. So I mean, regardless, we know Furman's in there. Obviously, the AQ, but in the FCS playoffs are so weird because it's like, well, who are they going to get matched up with? Well, you know, if they get matched up with Sacramento State, I think they're going to beat Sacramento State, right? When they in the second round or whenever it may be that they play another ranked opponent. But it's like, you know, can Furman go into Bozeman and beat Montana State? Can Furman go and beat Montana? You know, and Furman's going to host teams because they're going to have the higher seed. So it's going to be interesting. And do you think they're going to put? Granted, I guess Furman's undefeated, you know, in FCS play, but it's like, do you really think Furman is better than a Montana or a Montana State at this point? I just don't know.
Got to make a statement. They missed their opportunity against Chattanooga. Also, their quarterback got hurt in that game. He didn't come back in the second half.
No, and yeah, that's true.
A shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, their offense hasn't looked great for what they're ranking in the, you know.
I agree. I think if you're the second best team in the country, you got to score points.
Because I think the Final Four is going to be South Dakota State, Montana State, Idaho. I don't know who the 4th team's going to be.
And I've pledged my allegiance to Idaho now.
Yeah,
so I'm a vandal either way, guys. So honestly, who cares? I'm a vandal.
I'm rooting for them because of everything that's happened and just
Oh my God, they've been through so much. They deserve it.
Yeah. Being the second string program, the Boise State, their whole
Yeah.
whole existence pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
Dome, sweet dome,
yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah. Um, I know I was bringing. You mentioned how many teams are going to get in the playoff. I was kind of talking
Mhm.
about that. Western's kind of stumbled and Chattanooga's kind of stumbled, so we may only get two. It just depends on what the committee looks at.
Yeah.
Um, I really hope Western gets in because I think they could go decently far with how their offense has been, um, especially when you're playing against teams that don't, some of the smaller schools that don't have as much depth as a school like Western.
Yeah, there will
Um,
be some anger in Colowee if we're left
it,
out at 8-3
yeah,
with wins
yeah.
over Chattanooga and EKU, and a close loss to the number 2 team in the country, and then a fluke to Mercer without our best player.
Yep.
I was kind of worried if ETSU in 2018, if they didn't get like the uh, or automatic bid, I didn't think they were going to get in
Yeah.
potentially, being on that 8-3 line, which just how the committee's been recently with the SoCon. So I hope all goes well and we get three teams from the SoCon in because it
Yeah,
helps
I think if you're in
ETSU.
the top 25 and you're left out, you're gonna be upset at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a great season and then
Yep.
you get left out for like a 6-6 Missouri Valley team. Or
Or a Big South
seven
team.
and five, yeah, yeah. This is
Gardner
the
Webb goes to the playoffs.
I
Big
tell you, what's a
South.
shame is like then you have like the Pioneer League, like one of them goes to the playoffs every year, and it's just a
Davidson.
free.
Yeah.
When Davidson played
I,
Kennesaw State and got ran through, it's like, come on, it's challenging in the FCS because you don't have scholarships. You got other people. It's tough because
did
the people out in Northwest, that's the schools they go to, regardless of how
yeah.
talented they are.
I know one of those Pioneer teams beat somebody big last year or the year before.
Not sure. Not
They
sure.
beat they beat like an automatic qualifier for I forget who it was. I think it was San
Yeah.
Diego maybe. But that sort of covers the football talk. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
know where else we can go. Um, but I kind of wanted to just transition to uh, ETSU basketball in the Southern Conference this year. Um, since basketball season just started this week, um, and just what are your thoughts on ETSU's basketball team this year to start out?
Yeah, I was impressed with the first exhibition, at least the scoreboard. I didn't just see any, but the stats look good. Um, but I talked to John, ETSU Hoops Nation, and it's like we didn't play great. We played pretty sloppy against King, and I think anyone else will see that. But
Mm,
that's why you play games like that first game of the year. That's why we don't go out and schedule another solid mid major, our same exact size first game of the year. I think we're gonna be interested to see what we're gonna do against Elon tomorrow. I think it's going to be a nice little test for us. But overall, I'm impressed. I think if we can make some more shots, we're going to be a really good team. Abby looks really, really good shooting the ball. Jaden Seymour, he put some strength on him, and I mean he looks a lot better. So
mm.
I think we have a promising year for sure ahead of us. And I don't know if it's a championship season. I don't think it is, but it's definitely a top five in the SoCon season.
Yeah, that's what I got. Against UVA Wise, we played really good offensively. Last night or Monday night, the hoops just weren't falling.
Yeah,
The coaching was there. He was moving players in and out. It just was finding their chemistry. Ebby, like I thought coming in this year, Ebby was going to be our spark plug. Like I looked at his defensive numbers at Delaware and I was like, he's going to come in and be that guy, team leader, since he's a fifth year guy. Um,
yeah,
I think we overlooked King a lot. We were kind of looking towards Davidson and Elon a lot, and King we were just like, oh, we'll beat him by 100. Especially with a
yeah,
lot of the younger guys in there and new guys, they're probably like, we're playing a D2 school, huh? We'll
yeah,
beat them. And I think Brooks had to get on some of them. He was not happy Monday night. He probably was not. Next day at practice was probably not easy. I will say that.
yeah. I know. I just think I know, knowing his philosophy, I think defensively we're going to be really good,
Mhm.
and that's always nice. That's something we can always fall back on because he's going to recruit the same kind of dogs that Forbes has taught him to recruit. And with Pun helping out and Joe helping out, I think he's going to be. Yeah, those are all winners. Everyone on the coaches has to win, it seems like. So
You've got
that's what
a
helped.
program that knows how to win in March
Yeah,
and coaches that know how to win in March.
Yes.
yeah,
That is a recipe
it's
for
huge.
success. It
That's
might
huge.
not be this year, but that is a recipe for success.
That's really nice of you, Cole.
You know, you come from a school that it's once in a blue moon. It's you know how to
Oh, we're
see
getting there,
success
dude.
Yeah,
out of.
yeah,
Yeah,
You're
once in a
getting
blue
there.
moon. Our last 20 years have been terrible.
yeah.
We'll have success this year in football and this year in basketball and maybe next year in football and next year in basketball. And then a Power 5 school or a Group of 5 school will come calling with millions of dollars of contracts for our coaches and our players, and we'll be right back in the dumps. And about then, Johnson City will have rebuilt.
And we will own you once again.
But I'll always have these 2 years.
Hey, I mean, Western's been better the last several years. I will give them that. They've had
Yeah.
better players than they did for the
We've got a
previous
team. We've got a
15
team this
years.
year.
Yeah, before you came on here, Cole was sitting there telling me they're going to be undefeated in non-conference play. He's like,
Yeah, I've been
hey, we're
drinking
going to
early.
Notre Dame, beating them. We're going to go to MCSU, tough game, kind of beat them.
I was like, that might be our one
Hey,
loss. Was all I was like, we're not losing
no,
another game.
I can see you beating Notre Dame. I really can.
Notre Dame. Let me tell you right now, Micah Shrewsbury, watch out for him. He is a great coach. I will say that. I'm glad he's gone from Penn State.
As a Purdue fan, what are you
Yes.
thinking about the Samford game? I mean, y'all really tore them apart.
Oh yes. I I was shocked, to be completely honest, because Sanford's a
I
good
was too.
mid-major.
Yeah,
That
I was wild for.
Purdue looked like they were just on a different level. Like they were look like every player. I think a lot of that might have been focus and frustration from the FDU game coming out.
Yeah,
I think Samford
Uh,
played themselves going into that game. They made it all about that fucking
yeah,
jump ball.
dude,
yeah,
I agree.
that was just a clown moment. That was
Well,
sort
and
of like,
they got interactions out of it. I mean, I guess if
yeah.
you're getting blasted, like, oh, let's get our fans up.
Oddly enough, I think he was Sanford's best player on the court the other night. Like not even joking. He stole the
Yeah,
ball like 5 times.
he's a quick little
So
guy.
so he might be against ETSU. We might have to watch out for him. He's gonna be
Yeah.
a pest. Probably like Dang Alonzo.
God, I couldn't stand him.
Yeah, yeah.
I
One of
hope
my
he's
least
doing well
favorite
in
players.
Spain.
Yeah.
Whenever Francis Alonso stuck his tongue out when he was getting hot, that's when you knew it's over with. There's
Yeah.
nothing stopping him.
Him
Fuck that guy, man. Oh my
least favorite players in SoCon ever. Him and Fletcher McGee by far.
God. I
Least
respect Fletcher because he was
yeah,
like not annoying on the court. James Dickey,
James
to hell
Dickey,
with him.
yeah.
Number two, Francis Alonso. Man, everyone that plays at UNCG, they're just annoying.
I,
Golly. And then the guy that kept injuring our guys last year at Mercer, the dirty player. Forget his name, but
oh
God, he
yeah, I
was
remember that guy.
a piece of crap.
Wasn't he
Got Josh
like
Taylor out for the year.
doing body slams on the court pretty much?
I mean, yeah, like Josh Taylor went up for a dunk and he took him out and broke both of his wrists or something
Yeah.
like that. It's just crazy.
Or you might see that again from Mercer. I mean, they're not going to have a
They're unhappy.
competitive
Yeah.
team on the court.
Yeah.
Hey, Clark Atlanta's a tough team, Cole.
4-0 in the SoCon, baby.
Bro, no, we were talking about it's been kind of a rough week for the Southern Conference in basketball. Just like a bunch of the teams struggle with D2 opponents on Monday night. Outside of
Everybody other than the Catamounts.
Chattanooga and Western.
Yep.
I don't even think I've heard of the school Chattanooga played.
No,
Yeah,
Covenant School? Yeah,
Covenant.
never.
They
Yeah,
played him last year as well, and I think they beat him
Yeah.
worse last year than they did this
Yeah.
year.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, let's throw that one away. It's like when you, what is it, Samford plays those like insanely, like damn near home schools.
We
I'm like, golly.
we played a team like that. What was it? They're from Tennessee. It's not even like a. It was like
Is
a
it Wesleyan?
not Wesleyan. Who is it? I'm trying to remember. Is it? Starts with an S, I
Oh,
think. Hawassi.
oh,
Hawassi.
Hawassi. Yeah, that's when Bo had like
Yeah.
4 straight steals on 4 different inbounds and 4 different
Yeah.
dunks.
Yeah.
God, Hawassi. Yeah, that's rough.
They're not
Yeah, they
even
get
like an
passed around a
NAIA
little
team.
bit. They
Yeah,
had
I
some
don't even know
close
if they're in a
first
credit
halves
school.
in
Yeah.
Coley in the late 2010s, 2016,
Yeah.
2017. They had some nice jerseys, and they'd be competitive for 3/4 of the game back then. We weren't very good.
Yeah, they're pretty much like an academy. Like they're not even a full-on college. Oh yeah, and speaking of blowouts, Richmond blew out VMI.
Yeah.
Jordan
Yeah.
King had that insane game.
Oh, did he
Which
play? I forget he's at Richmond.
he had 34
34.
points.
God.
I,
But
I'm
listen, good for him.
yeah.
He did that once every 24 games. Like, good for him. He shot the
I
ball way too much. He hurt us so much last year.
yeah. I think it was just Oliver's offense. Like he was putting
Yeah,
too much on him.
I
Like
agree.
he was and there was no help from anyone else on the team
Yeah.
besides Jalen Haynes, and Haynes, once you can't rely on just 2 players, one on the
God.
inside and outside to do your work.
He played 25 minutes and had 34 points. That's
Yeah.
absurd.
Yeah,
Good
I
for
think
him,
he just
man.
went
Good for
back
him.
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
They continue to lose people, and they can't. Nobody's ever going to stay there anymore.
Yeah.
No. Way to go, Jake Stevens.
As far as Dan Earl took that program, he
Yeah.
dropped a grenade and sent him
Oh
back
my
15
God.
years
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
He basically nuked the program.
Yeah.
You used the transfer portal as a weapon.
Yeah, he showed everyone there how to get out. He's like, listen, guys, if you want to leave, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Have one good
Yeah.
season and then go portal hopping.
Yep.
The military academies are basically, you can't, with the portal, you can't compete in basketball now.
No, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, who's going to transfer like from a normal school to go into a military? It's just tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Citadel's the only school that can compete because their guys don't have to do any of the military stuff. And they get to live at the
And
beach.
they're on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they still had, what's his face, transfer to South Carolina.
No, Hayden, the pastor.
Hayden. Oh,
Hayden Brown.
Yeah.
That's another one I don't like.
Yeah.
The dang
he
shorts.
pissed me off. Golly. He was tough.
There's always those
They lost
players.
Rudy to old Chattanooga this year as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see, chat. Okay. I think that's about. Oh, we'll start. We'll start. What are your predictions for the SoCon this year? Before we end our basketball talk.
Cole?
Who do you think? Wins it
Catamounts
all?
on top, man. It don't matter. I just told Will, before we started recording, we're not losing a game non-conference. It might win 30 games this year. Probably like a top 20 seed in the tournament. Elite 8. Trey Jackson wins Tournament Player of the Year. Woolbright wins regular season Player of the Year. Final Four, Woolbright wins MOP. Drop a heartbreaker in the Final Four, and it's the last I'm ever heard of is the night of that game.
Yeah. Just because he does that, I'm going to put Western Carolina at 10th in the Southern Conference for me. And then I'm going to have UNCG up there at 1. I think it'll be a surprise pick. No, I can't do that. Yeah, I am because I hate Furman. And then I'm going to put Furman at number 9. Yep. And then each issue somewhere in between.
Yeah. I know you're kind of playing around. I got Furman at 1. Obviously,
It's
I think
disrespectful.
through 1 through 6,
Yeah.
6ish, it's a toss up. I think ETSU finishes about 4th or 5th in the conference, about middle of the road.
Where did you put Western in yours?
I don't know where they'd be. They'd probably be up there in close to the top.
Yeah,
Probably
the thing about the
9 or
conference this year
10.
is You don't know who's good. You just know who's bad.
Yeah.
You know VMI. You know the Citadel. And after the other night, you know Mercer and Wofford aren't winning. You take
Yeah.
those 4 teams out, though, and it's really heated, and each team has a very good strength. Western Carolina has great guard play. Inside, you got a big question mark. Furman, you know, you've got the last year's lineage, but you don't know what is really returning.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the bottom 3 are going to be Mercer, VMI, and Citadel, and then the rest of the conference is up in the air. So there's so many transfers
Yeah.
around, but
And I'm going to say something real quick. Mercer, can never sleep on Mercer in the tournament.
yeah,
For some reason, they find their way, or anyone with a low seed finds their way to get to the semifinals of the conference tournament. Every single year.
Guaranteed a 7 seed is playing in the
Oh my
championship.
God! Yeah, for sure. It's almost booked. It's crazy.
yeah. We'll probably have a 1 seed get upset this year or something crazy like that, just randomly. It seems like every small conference has that, but
Yep.
I think that's about all we have for the basketball talk. I just wanted to move into the final stages of the podcast. Is there anything you guys want to plug? Talk about Southern Comfort. Is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
Cole, go ahead and plug us, bud.
I mean, you know, we're still alive and active out there. I've been getting some questions. You know, are you guys still alive? Me and Will are very busy with our lives right now. I apologize for that. We're trying to, you know, establish ourselves. Once Western Carolina wins, you know, the SoCon, we would definitely be back on at some point for basketball. We've got to start getting back out there, but we do appreciate you having us on, Jacob. We love seeing other guys like this, you know, kind of start their thing and get more media out there for the conference.
Yeah, Jacob, we appreciate it.
I know it's something I've been passionate about, and I'm glad I finally got it started up. I understand life is crazy, especially as young, recent college graduates. You're dealing with your work life and then social life on top of it, and I'm glad you guys could find some time to get on here. I know
for sure. Well, we appreciate you having us. And same thing, Cole, is man, we enjoyed it. And hey, we love having people ask us, hey, what's going on? We've gotten a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll do a few emergency pods here and there if we have to when Western Carolina gets beat by Notre Dame by like 35 points, whatever. But I would like to have a shout-out to the Lady Catamounts. Congratulations on the first soccer championship in Coley in a long time. Don't know if it's the first one ever, Cole.
Not ever. 2008. You know, you just got to go back a little bit.
2008. Well, that seems like damn forever. That's 15 years ago. I was 10. So, yeah, hey, congratulations to the Western Carolina ladies soccer team. And if HSU was in the championship, they probably would have beat you. So
yeah, we drew Alabama in the first round of the tournament. So
who cares? As long as Saban isn't coaching, I think
it's an honor to be selected.
It is. It is. But yeah, Jacob, dude, thank you so much, and we really appreciate you having this podcast, dude.
Hey, I'm glad you guys could come on. I know when I figured I had this idea. I was like, since ETSU and Western might as well have a preview show on the podcast. But thank you guys for coming on.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say good night to everybody. Godspeed and go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
And good night. Hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll talk to y'all later.